Arizona, the teachers there's a new development in their attempt to basically fix the school system in Arizona. Originally, they asked for increased funding to go to things like salary and school facilities. They wanted a 20% raise. They were offered a 1% raise. They held firm, and they eventually got that 20% raise offered by the governor, Doug Ducey. It was the 20 by 2020 plan. And it seemed like that was gonna be the move, but there has been a development. According to NPR, teachers in Arizona held a strike vote on Thursday that launched Arizona's first ever statewide walkout and turned down a proposed pay raise, instead demanding increased school funding. So a lot of criticism people levy against teachers if they are to criticize like a teachers union's move to get higher pay raises is they criticize the teachers for being so greedy and wanting money and taking money away from the schools. In this specific case, it seems like the teachers have, and the vote went so that the teachers said, listen, we want funding for everyone. Originally, the PTA of Arizona was behind the initiative, and the head of the PTA, Beth Simek, issued a video statement on Twitter talking about one of the issues she had with the proposed plan from the governor. Take a look.
While we are appreciative again that the governor invited us to be part of the conversation and collaborate on his ideas, in light of the funding streams that have come to light regarding the 20 by 2020 plan, we can no longer support the governor's proposal. As a voice for children, we hope to see the governor and this legislature find a sustainable, long-term, permanent funding source that does not hurt others in the process. And in order to properly address the crisis that we have in our state with this teacher shortage, we are urging the governor and the legislature to continue to work together with state leaders, parents, community members, and teachers to find a real way to restore the cuts that have been made to Arizona's schools.
So there you go. She criticizes, or at least brings up the issue of where the money's coming from. An additional reason that they are pulling out of the deal, some have cited that the support staff needs more funding. They aren't getting it as much as the teachers. And in Arizona, they are 43rd in the nation in terms of teacher pay.
So I take a couple things out of this. You got to fight back because if you don't, they're never going to give you a raise. So it turns out they could have given you a 20% raise all along. They just chose not to. And in a lot of the states, what do? They always have money for tax cuts. So if you're rich or you run a big corporation, they'll always find money for that. It's supposed to trickle down on us, but the whole point of the trickle down is eventually it's supposed to raise the salaries of people like teachers, but it hasn't. And if you don't work together, they're never going to give you what you more than deserve. I mean, you're 43rd in pay. So that's point one. Point two is how incredibly magnanimous are the teachers? Because what they realize is, yeah, we got our 20% by 2020 and they're going to get 9% in the first year, but it turns out they're taking the money out of other school funding. Look, well, that defeats the point. Yes, I would get my raise, right, but you're going to hurt education in Arizona.
And whenever they're taxing as well to bring that money in.
Yeah, so not just the support staff, but they're like, look, the kids need the money for the schools so we can have the textbooks, et cetera. Yeah. So this defeats the whole point. So instead, they are bravely going forward, and there could be severe consequences in Arizona for the strike, bravely going forward to stand up for their kids and to stand up for everyone else in the school system. That's courage.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're taking inspiration from their counterparts in West Virginia and Oklahoma, which West Virginia, at least they got a 5% raise, Oklahoma not so much, but they have to create noise around this issue. And it's a perfect contrast to the gun laws because this actually is a municipal issue. Like local, municipal, they can work on funding there. They don't have to wait on the feds or midterm elections to help teachers, and they're speaking out and they're walking out. So I'm rooting for the AZ teachers.
Yeah, and the Oklahoma teachers thought they had gotten a deal, and then it turns out, of course, the politicians screwed them at the end.
Right.
In Kentucky, all they were asking for is don't cut the pensions you already agreed to. We signed a contract, you signed a contract. Like whenever you don't pay or you go bankrupt, they always shame you. Like, oh my God, it's a moral issue. When bankers don't pay or businessmen like Donald Trump don't pay, they go, he's just a smart businessman, he declared bankruptcy, right? When the teachers get screwed and they don't get their pension, they go, well, there's nothing we can do about it. No, there's something you can do about it. That's why you got to get together and fight.
Yeah, and it is extremely risky what the Arizona teachers are doing because that is a non-collective bargaining state. They are not. It's a right to work state. I hate that term, right to work state. It's a non-collective bargaining state. It is a state that doesn't guarantee you protection for unionizing, which reads, the Arizona Education Association has warned its 20,000 members about a 1971 Attorney General opinion saying a statewide strike would be illegal under common law and participants would lose their teaching credentials. So April 26th is the day that they're supposed to walk out, which it seems like they've been warned by the AEA, is illegal to do, so get ready for a fight.
Look, that's why I said it's incredibly courageous and the exact opposite of selfish, because some governors like Bevin in Kentucky and others are claiming that the teachers are being selfish. How preposterous. The same guys who protect the bankers then turn around and say the teachers are being selfish when some of them haven't gotten raises in decades.
Yeah, there's like teachers with 2 jobs. They have to work after school. They're on public assistance. Like that is something to protest.
And then something to follow is what was it specifically that the Arizona teachers had trouble with the PTA specifically also had trouble with the money coming from? That just means that it seems like they smelled a rat in what Ducey was doing, which is saying, we got it perfectly. We have your money, we're gonna give it to you. It just smells like a trap. So later they can say, oh yeah, your teachers got all that money and we took it from here, and there.
Right,
so,
the paraprofessionals and the staff at the school.
Right, and so that they could later blame the teachers for taking all the money and pit them against one another. Right. But the teachers didn't fall for the trap and said, no, we're gonna stick together with everyone in the school system. Again, risking their jobs to do that. You want to talk about profiles and courage, that is it right there. And I love that the revolution has begun with teachers and nurses. So, and it is, strikes are how you do it. You heard in the private sector, you heard them in the pocketbook and they will howl, right? In the public sector, you get together, whether it's collective bargaining, and in Arizona, they don't allow collective bargaining. Why? Because they want the powerless to stay powerless. They don't want the teachers to have any power, but nonetheless, they have gotten together. And by the way, a lot of these folks are Republican. Almost all these states are Republican. The teachers in Kentucky, a lot of them are Republican, but it has affected them and they now realize the game that's being played. The system is rigged. It's rigged not by the powerless, like as somebody who just crossed the border the other day with no money in his pocket. It's rigged by the powerful. So now these teachers, and I mentioned, if you like this video, bless your heart. We got a lot more where that came from. We do a full show every day, Monday through Friday. Come enjoy it ad-free by becoming a member, tytnetwork.com/join.